500 noch mehr. Clear the track for the first corner, and the track is clear.
相当于都是玻璃，它这个一个保温是那个。
Five minutes to start. 5 minutes to start.
Ich habe das gedacht. Ja, ja. Wie ein Deutscher. Der muss irgendwelche deutsche Gegner haben. Ja. Wann ist der Endezeit? Aber wir fangen an am 10:35, 4:30.
400 finish.
Fifth race weekend of the BMW IBSF Bobsleigh and Skeleton World Cup. We're in Lillehammer in Norway on a beautiful spring morning, late winter morning. The sun is shining, the snow is glittering on the landscape in this 1994 Winter Olympic venue, with the World Cup returning for the first time in 20 years to the scene of the Olympic Games. Lisa Buchwitz of Germany in the battle for the medals. Greg Cackett sitting alongside me, and it's been an absolutely fascinating first heat.
Yeah, this is, as we said in the live feed, Martin, this is MonoBob being proven to be a great model for these girls. It is close racing, fast starting, good driving. You know, the sleds are all the same. You know, it's standardized kit. This is about the best athlete, the best driver, and we're seeing, what is it? You know, from 8th to silver. You know, Yingqing in 8th place is going to be looking at this thinking, I fancy a medal here, you know, because all these girls are minimizing mistakes. The sleds are hard to control, so it's really up for grabs. Cynthia with now the booming start. I said her start seemed to have been slightly off the boil recently for the caliber of athlete she is, but it seemed that she was getting into early, but she had a monstrous start here in the 68, I think so, in the sub 0.7s, which is the standout class of this field. And a good exit there. She was bringing the sled down far better than she has done recently. Great to see her smiling. And Keisha Love, well, blew us away in the first heat. A start record, track record. She did everything right. She got the great start, carried that velocity into this fast-moving track, brought it down beautifully, and she's better part 3/10 ahead at the bottom. And what an experience for a totally inexperienced pilot.
And to put that into perspective, yeah, she's 29 hundredths ahead of the tie for second place. But Brianna Walker, Cynthia Appia, Lisa Buchwitz and Andrea Grecu, 4 sleds covered by 400ths of a second before that. So Keisha Love has taken that big step forward towards her second gold medal of the season. Okay, it can all come undone in the second run, but she has proved that the pace is there to just crush everybody. And despite what you thought was maybe a bit of an Achilles injury, she actually blew them away at the start as well. Well, there she is. She's just producing the goods from very little of a standing start. You know, she was competing in the Olympic Games in 2022 in Beijing as a brakewoman with Kaylee Humphries, and then ended up as, you know, a year later, as one of the best drivers in the business. I mean, that's just an astonishing ability to learn and develop. So
definitely, we say that, you know, the bobsleigh model is take your fastest pushers and put them in the front seat. You know, teach them to drive.
But you always kind of thought, right, that's a 3 or 4 year progress. I mean, she was
8 years. She
was learning to drive before the Olympic Games, but barely had done any. I mean, she's done a handful of races before this season. Yeah, literally a handful.
Oh, it's been a meteoric.
Yeah. Okay, in reverse order of their first heat performance, here's our start list for Heat 2. 15 sleds, go 15 down to 1. Adele Nicola, Great Britain, will be first off. Linda Wierzchewski, then Margot Bock, the track record holder before this morning, who's down in 13th place. And then we get down to the battle for the medals. And like you say, basically from Yingqing in 8th place, all up for grabs, apart from maybe gold.
Absolutely.
Adele Nicola, Great Britain, gets our second heat underway here in Lillehammer. Her mum is here watching her for the very first time on ice. Sean Olsen and Graham Richardson, the coaches, and Adele just needs to relax into this and just let the sled fly. 5.80, not trying to overthink or over-push at the start.
Yeah, so Adele, I've had a message from her mid-heat. She's not sure why they had to look the sled over. You know, there were little mistakes on the way down, but nothing that glaring to be where she is in the field here. So she's hoping for just a big push, a good drive, and then to put this one in the rear view and everything. She's still learning. Yeah,
and she had a little tap early on before corner 3. Nice and smooth through the labyrinth. There's 10 and 11. 11 again, no rocky exits. Out of corner 12, sets her up nicely for 13. Little flop off 13 and a big skid, and that robs speed from the sled. You can see how shiny the ice is. There's been a fresh spritz between the heats to give it that extra bit of gloss. And across the line, a 55.31. Well, that's 200 slower than her first heat, so it looks like whatever she was doing in the first heat, whatever she's tried to do in the second, it's had pretty much the same effect. So the Welsh shot put champion, a great summer athlete as well as winter athlete. Adele, this is not her day, clearly. I think she felt quite happy to be at the track, but for some reason, it's just not gelling.
Yeah, it's just the learning experience. Adele is still, you know, she's still brand new to this thing. And as you said, Adele is a phenomenal athlete. This girl can lift weights that, you know, strong men struggle with. This girl is a phenomenally powerful athlete. And she's just getting to grips with driving here. And it could be the setup. There could be something that's not quite right in the sled here. She'll review. Look, she's not too sure. But you'll have plenty more of them. You'll have plenty more good ones as well, Adele. Don't worry about it.
All right, well, it's a bit of a shame that her mum Nicole is here for a slightly disappointing day, but, you know, that's sport. I'm sure she's picked her up a few times and dusted her down in her young career anyway. So great to see her first ever sponsor here as well as her current sponsors. Linda Wierzchewski next up for Poland. 12th fastest start in the first heat, and she came down in 14th spot. She was the last sled on the ice, and actually there were a few errors down the bottom that cost her.
So she's about 1,200 behind the next spot in front of her, Margot Bock, so she's going to be looking to overcome that. But a 586 that drops her back a little. That's 400 slower in the start there for Linda.
I was postulating that as some of the frost went out from the start, the second heat might see faster starts again, and we might do at the top end of the field. Okay, nice and smooth down through the early corners. And this labyrinth can be really the undoing of a good run, but that looked pretty neat.
She's looking pretty tidy here. She's second best speed though.
Yeah, it looked as though the back of the sled was walking around behind her in the first heat, and it sort of still is as well. You can see she's not coming straight down many of these exits.
Yeah, and there's a few taps in there, minor skids and things like that, but see, only 100.
Just by 100 over Adele.
So she dropped back there.
Yeah, she really did. She was nearly 2 tenths in front after the first heat. So more mistakes creeping in for Linda Wierzchewski.
It'd be interesting to see as well how the tracks. We're so new to this place. We haven't been here before, so
yeah.
We're not sure how the track holds up. We're not going to sure how it holds up through the day, through more sleds that go down. So it'd be interesting to see skids into entrances there. That's just killing time. So all those mistakes will be what is just.
And again, you see her driving hard off the exit there. So she was late on to 13 and late off it. She had to haul it down. And that then slaps the wall. And when the back's not following the front, as any car racer will tell you, that is tough. Margot Bock of France next up. Margot, 24 years of age, race winner in the W Series before, in the World Series before the World Cup began. Hasn't had a World Cup medal yet.
So 88 getaway in the first, the 89, so only 100 slower. So she's kept that a little closer than the girls before her. Margot's a really good driver, so watch her keeping this quiet out of these top corners. Carrying that speed as much as possible. A little tappy there.
A little bit wavy in corner 6. Those two pressures, you've got to try and isolate them as one constant curve. Better speed than we've seen from the two sleds previously, so she's stopped losing ground.
The gap's growing now.
Yeah. Creeping away now from Linda Wierzchewski. Woo!
Late out of there.
Who was it who we saw nearly go over in the first heat? I can't remember now, but that was close as well. Bumps across the line, 55.13 compared to 54.98 in the first heat, so 1500ths of a second slower. And she just hangs on in front.
Yeah, shake of the head for Margot there. She knows the mistakes down the track there, and that was a very high and hairy exit from corner 13 there.
Yeah.
See, it pushes her down, pushes her back up.
Wow, look how high she was above the regular drive lines.
It makes for a great highlight reel, though.
Oh, that's heart in the mouth, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the moment where you feel your backside starting just to separate from the sled. Come on down, baby. And that's the bump into 14. She was so early onto the corner in 14. Well, she still pulled away from Linda Wierzchewski. So ahead of her by just, 800ths of a second was Katy Beil. Katy from Austria, the first slider. Well, they've obviously fixed her visor, which had to be gaffer taped on in the first heat. A little bit of a drama before the start of the race.
You know, it's great to see Catty back in the field at all. You know, she had such a big health scare with that stroke she had. It's 50 out of there.
Yeah.
But, you know, an 83, there we go. So now we're starting to get, showing her experience there. It's 300s quicker than her first heat. So she's the first one of these girls to take that start.
I know her former break woman, Jennifer Onasanya, will be watching this weekend back at home, as she does every weekend, with her little baby Otis. And in the absence of Jen, Catty Bile having to kind of create a new bobsled team around her, find new athletes.
We definitely need Jen back. Jen, one of the standout performers in this field.
Easing away now, 3600s ahead of Margot Bock. She's finding a little bit more pace, but again, late flop off 13, same as she did in the first heat. Still has decent speed. 123.4 at the bottom of the track, 76.5 miles an hour. So 54.79 compared to 54.86. She has gone from 800s in front to 4600s in front. So that could give her a chance to maybe jump ahead of birthday girl Bianca Ribby of Canada. They were only 300s apart.
Yeah,
here we go.
It's going to keep Ribby honest, I think, in this next heat.
Skid from 12 on to 13. The sled's pointing right, the corner's going left. But look at the runner tips, comes out straight. So she dealt with it in the middle of the turn. Couldn't avoid the late flop. But actually didn't get, got a bit of a back end skid going the reverse way into 14. Besser. Yeah.
Progress, there we go.
Yeah. Lyndon Rush at the front of the sled. There's plenty of knowledge in a lot of these bobsleigh teams, isn't there, with the coaching backup that they've got.
Oh yeah, Canada, excellent coaching staff. You can see the Olympic champion Cripsey in the background there.
Yep. There's some good driving skills between Justin Cripps and Lyndon Rush. You don't want for much.
So Bianca will be wanting to improve on her 584 start, give herself as much as she can to get away from Catty.
She only had 300s in hand, which is effectively a dead heat.
Here we go, 82. Great job, Bianca. It's 200s off her first start. So she only had 300s, yeah. So she's going to need to
away,
really
nice and quiet here. Just a little tap out of 5, a forward into 5.
200s.
Now that's a good line through corner 6. Brings it back just right for 7. She's slipping back. Maybe not quite as clean into the labyrinth.
Yeah, no, she is. I was waiting to see if the next clock, if she was building speed, but it seems to be.
And again, that flop out of 13. That's not going to help her catch Catty Bile. Don't think she's got it. Hasn't got the speed on board. Bile was quicker by half a kilometre an hour. So she goes down by 2100s. You don't want to lose a spot any day, and definitely not on your birthday. Speaking of which, by the way, happy birthday to the Latvian snapper, Fiestas, who unfortunately slipped on the ice a couple of days ago and broke ribs, is back home in Latvia. Hopefully he'll be fit and healthy for Sigulda next week.
Oh, so yes, I didn't even know that.
I know, mate. We are all missing you and missing your glorious photography. And I know it's killing him not to be here on a day like today. So we wish you the very best. Happy birthday, and hopefully the next birthday you'll be feeling a lot better and being able to do what you want to do. Well, Catty Bile, Bianca Ribby just slipping behind Catty Bile there into second place. And again, look, you see just a little high early on, and that late exit. All right, them's the breaks. Birthday boy and a birthday girl not having the best day. Catty Bile leads from Bianca Ribby. 5 down and 10 to go here in Lillehammer. And I'm afraid these images just adding insult to injury to Fiestas, because this is a beautiful day. We've had a couple of absolute stunners and a couple of cloudy days. Snowed all day yesterday, but that's all part of what makes the scenery here so beautiful.
Yeah, it really is. When the sun comes out, this place is gorgeous. It's like a slightly less mountainous Moritz.
Yeah.
It's really, really beautiful.
Yeah, it's absolutely stunning, and a fabulous location. And from where we are in the Finnish building, can look out the window across to the Olympic ski pistes on the other side of the valley. There you go. That's exactly my view from here, but just with a slightly better pair of eyes on the camera. And the ski jumping towers in town in Lillehammer. And we're just a little bit outside in Hunderfossen. The presenting sponsor of this weekend's World Cup is the Hunderfossen Winter Park, which celebrates its 40th anniversary. It's the 30th anniversary of the Games, 20 years since the World Cup was here for women's bob and skeleton. And actually, the opening ceremony, you went to the opening ceremony, that was quite entertaining.
Oh, you know, I didn't.
Oh, you didn't go?
I was old and cantankerous and decided to stay home.
You should have gone.
I know, I missed the fireworks.
The last, I mean, I can't think of a World Cup where they had an opening ceremony. Normally it's World Championships, so it was really nice. And yeah, not long. We had 2 or 3 speeches from various people, including one of the IBSF lawyers, who's one of the locals here, who had some great gags for a lawyer, proper lawyer gags. And no, really, very entertaining. Bit of folk singing and some, great fireworks to Pierre Gint. Well, there is Adele Nicol, a day not to be celebrated, but listen, on
Still
a day
smiling.
like today, on a track like this, it's still a day to enjoy. 5 down, 10 to go. Race 5 of the BMW IBSF Women's Monobob World Cup. We're in Lillehammer in Norway, a double Olympic venue. 94 Winter Olympic Games, 2016 Youth Olympic Games. Alana Myers-Taylor was not at either of those. Let's see what she does. 10th place in the first heat off the 11th best start, 5.80, finds a few
76,
hundreds.
there we go. That's more like Alana. So as you said in the first heat, you know, Alana is one of the powerhouses of the field. She's an incredible starter, incredible in the 2 women, incredible in the mono. But she's, you know, still fresh, 12 months off having a second child, and so it's pretty extraordinary that she's here at all. But watch the experience and the drive here, because Alana, over the last few years as well, has really started to set apart in that respect. 2 tenths in the bank.
She's such a smooth operator behind the D-rings. I mean, she really drives sweet lines. Nice exit from 13.
That's good.
Yeah, 1300s up. Still got some of that lead over Katy Bile. It's going to be close at the bottom, isn't it? How close? 1/10 of a second. She just keeps her nose in front of the Austrian. Look, we just saw a 400s of a second improvement with Alana between those 2 pushes. And that's kind of how her metric is, you know, every day, just that creeping fraction better, until at some stage, probably before the beginning of next season, there is almost no improvement, and then she knows she's back to where she needs to be.
Absolutely, and I think so many of us are rooting for Alana to get back up to the top, because if Alana's at the top, it raises everyone else's standards. Same if Kaylee comes back as well, probably one of the best bobsleigh drivers in history, male or female. You know, we need these girls in here, we need these women in here, because it'll raise the standard of all these youngsters coming through. I mean, apart from Keisha as a bit of an outlier, you know, in terms of driving experience, these are really experienced girls.
Yep. But then, on the other hand, you've got still some juniors like Melanie Hassel, you know, 25 years old. These drivers are still, you know, 5 or 6 years into their career, not a decade like some of the top male drivers. So, and they're still bringing it to somebody like Kaylee, who's been to 4 Olympics, you know, and Alana, 4 Olympic cycles. The youngsters are still right in there swinging. 5.72, just a whisker quicker as well.
That's a great start. Again, we're seeing the standard here, the low 5.7s into the sub 5.7s is the absolute standout performance here at the start. Melly has improved so much athletically, you know, coached by Chris Woolley, former British S&C general dog's body, does everything, and he's going to crack.
Only 3rd best speed. The gap between her and Alana Myers-Taylor was only 200s of a second in the advantage of Melanie Hassler, and that's gone now. And she hasn't got the speed that Alana had. Now, Alana wasn't the fastest. She was 2nd quickest to Katy Bile there.
She's holding on, though.
Oh, this is going to be super close.
Tight.
I mean, it was close enough in Heat 1 with 200s in it. Is there even going to be that at the bottom? 2nd
Single
fastest.
digits, 700s.
Wow, so she found 500s of a second over Alana Myers-Taylor.
But interesting, 2/10 slower than her first heat downtime. So maybe the track isn't quite right.
Well, I wonder if but the bitter overnight cold really made it hard. I mean, last week it was -20, and it was very hard to drive and very fast. And this week's a little bit more forgiving. Again, you see the steering there. She's just a little late on the D-rings. This is in the upper labyrinth. The labyrinth, and out of 13. That's a pretty nice exit.
Really good out of there.
You see the way that the outer runners don't just crunch down onto the ice, they come down the curve of the track, and that's what you're looking for. There's a great view of the driver on the D-rings. You see sometimes how much steering goes in and how brief the steering input is. So Mel Hasler leads from Alana Myers-Taylor and Katie Biles. 7 down, 8 to go. And now we're in the battle for the medals, because although Yingqing is 44 hundredths off the lead, the tie for silver is 29 hundredths off the lead. So we're looking at 15 hundredths of a second from 8th to joint second. Game on.
Definitely. This is why we're saying this is such a good race, because if these girls pull out the start, if they minimize mistakes down at the bottom of the track, it's anyone's game for the top 3.
By the
79.
way, for those who don't read Chinese, the Chinese characters on the side and on the nose of the sled say China. So the same way it's translated in English. Oh, just tripping behind a fraction.
So she's ahead again. 300ths ahead now, so...
Well, she needs to be, because she was 900ths ahead of Melanie Hasler, so if she can't even stay that far ahead, then her chances of jumping 15 hundredths up towards the medals are going to be slender.
So she's overcome the start deficit she had to Melly. It's 2/10 now, number 1 speed, so she's flying here.
This is a good one, and I think maybe she senses the opportunity.
Beautiful exit.
Yingqing of China, best result was a bronze medal in Sigulda at the end of last season. Has not changed that so far this year. Her best result, 8th in St. Moritz, 54.72. So she will be at least 8th. That is a season personal best, equaling run of a 5.79 start. So the start was the same speed. She came down nearly 2/10, 1600 slower, but enough to take the lead.
Yes, she's done everything she needed to do there, Ying. She at least maintained her start. She's driven exceptionally well. She was carrying great speed down the track there. She had a great exit from 13. Yeah, she's thrown down the gauntlet now to Laura, because that is going to keep... Laura only had 100th on her in the first heat, so that is going to keep her honest. But Laura's not going to be looking back. Well, she's absolutely going to be looking.
The gaps now are so tiny. Exactly. Everybody is looking for a medal here, from Yingqing on up. Nice view in 15 of the artist at work. Yingqing has the lead, 7 to go. Okay, who gets the medals? Here's the world champion, Lauren Alter.
So 5.74 in the first heat. She's going to be wanting to pull out a bigger start here.
She's not the best starter. 68.
There's the Olympic champion at work. Fantastic. That is, I mean, out and out world class.
Sub 5.7. Last time she raced on this track, she won gold in the Youth Olympics 2016. She's literally not been back in a race since then. Look at her working on the D-rings. Ooh, little heavy steer. Not the best speed.
She's holding on to 2/10 in the bank. A little bit of a skid there as well.
Ying of China with the fastest sled at this point of the track. 2/10 up. This is about grabbing a medal. Lauren Alter.
Ooh, that's not... 1700, she's going to lose a bit of time here. 8th best speed.
Oh dear.
Should have enough.
She's going to be in front, but it's not enough for a medal. Surely 54.66. Too many sleds that she's going to rely on making a big mistake. Shake of the head from Renee Spies. Little ripple of applause from Gert Leopold.
Yeah, she'll know. That, it's a real shame for Laura then, because a booming start and just those mistakes at the bottom. We saw the exit of 13. There were a couple of skids into entrances as well, I think.
Hauls it off here.
But that exit of 13, where the track's flat, you know, if you're coming out and skidding there, you're just saying goodbye.
Well, she gets tapped away there on the left-hand side. You see the ice coming up as she goes sideways up onto the corner, and here.
Skid, tap, skid.
Yeah, boom, bang, bing, bosh.
And she was down to 8th speed after that.
And then on to 14 again. You see her bumped up as the sled takes on the fillet.
Hey, the positives, Laura, what a start.
Well,
athletically,
she was the Olympic champion, Youth Olympic champion here, so it's still a track I'm sure that has good memories for her. Next up, Maureen Zimmer. Now then, this morning when we arrived, Maureen Zimmer was the start record holder. No longer. Maureen, 5.63, didn't quite match her own previous best of 5.62. Two other athletes did, and then Keisha Love went 5.61. That is a gauntlet thrown down to a fast starter.
This will be really interesting. She's young, she's less experienced, either it will go forward or back. 64, just slightly back. I think we're going to see this girl really making a dent
now,
in this World
has
Cup
somebody
field
said
as
to
years go
her,
on.
forget the start record. If you've got a gold medal in your hand or a bronze medal or a silver medal, you will not care. This is her World Cup debut in MonoBob, don't forget.
I think she's just been a little bit messy up the top there, so we'll see her come back
again,
here. She goes red.
The head rocking and rolling in the labyrinth.
Yeah.
Little skid.
Just a little untidy at the top, which, as we said, you're just going to kiss goodbye to your velocity. So,
and it's so close here as well.
But what a learning curve for this girl as well.
Yep. Well, she's in because Kim Kilicki's not healthy. A long skid there, though, down the straight. The back end not playing the game, and the speed's gone away. She's not going to be second. She should be third at the line. She is third at the line, 54.89.
Bit of ghost bob through the line as well.
Yeah.
Find every 100th.
Not that she's the tallest of athletes, but exactly a 100th of a second, especially in this race. Goodness knows.
But she's in the mix there, Maureen. You know, she's obviously a powerful starter.
Yep.
You know, that was exceptional. She just needs to get this drive a bit tidier. There'll be nerves, anxiety.
And again,
time on the
younger
World Cup,
athlete knows the track because she's raced here in Europa Cup a couple of times. So, you know, she's actually got more experience of this track than, let's say, Francesco Friedrich, who's got more experience of every track than everybody.
Yeah, it's true. But I mean, that also presents its own pressures, right? You know, she's got more experience here, but she's not as experienced at this level. So she might be expecting, people expecting me to do better because I've been here. That'll all add pressures and stuff. So this is all a great learning curve.
Should help with the comfort zone. Well, there she is, last year's junior world champion.
Great job.
So that's how she got her free entry into the world champs. Lauren Alter leads from Yinqing and Maureen Zimmer. We have 5 to go in Lillehammer. Top 5 in Lillehammer with the joint fastest starter in the competition, Romania's Andrea Grecu.
Okay, so all Andrea needs to do here is have a clean drive because she's going to start brilliantly. She just needs to bring this down clean.
Well, she put it all together in La Plan, and since then it has not gelled, but today looked like she was right back to her very best.
63.
5.63, that'll keep her in the frame. It's not about getting a new start record, it's about where you are at the finish line, and this is smooth already.
She had a little tap in the early corner there, but this looks a bit better now. She keeps this straight, she should keep gapping Laura here.
She was a 10th up on Lauren Alter from the first heat. She's only a 10th up now. The speed's not there. And those early mistakes, a little late flop there as well. 500's in it. Not got the speed. Lauren Alter wasn't the fastest.
She needs to be clean out of here. It's a bit better than Laura, though. She might have enough.
It's going to be red numbers, not good enough, I don't think. Hasn't got the speed. Lauren Alter by, oh no!
10th, there we go.
I know, there you go. Look, thank you for that.
But I think that's because Laura's exit at 13 was work. I would put forward, and in that flat section of the track,
wow,
Andrea just had that little bit extra velocity through there.
All right, so she leads with
how important
4 to go. Good to see that Julian Pakianu, the coach, couldn't quite figure out whether she was ahead or behind, and Lara couldn't either. Well, here's the exit of 13. It was a bit of a flop, but you're right, she didn't have the...
straight. It was a straighter tap, less of a skid.
Yeah.
Whereas Laura's was a lot hairier through there.
And it put it more smoothly into the middle. Actually, more of the middle onto 14. You get a much smoother take onto that corner. And here's the exit of 14. Little skatey down into 15, but through the big corner 15. Double pressure.
Right, whatever the result here for Andrea, an amazing pushing weekend,
Yes.
and she's taken the Olympic champion scalp as well, so great return for the Romanian.
Next up, Lisa Bukwitz.
Big start coming.
Now then, 32 hundredths off the lead is her run of gold medals.
I'm going to say 60. 58.
Oh, dear
Wow.
Lord.
Go on, Lisa. So that's what this girl has in the tank, but she's a responder. She's like Friedrich. She's like the big guys and girls of this competition. She responds in the second heat, which is why she's so difficult to beat and why she's won so many times.
She somehow produces more than she even knew was there herself. And actually, do you know what? You know, last year from being a fast starter who was in a sled, this year she's a fast starter who can drive a sled, and that's been the big difference. Last year she won just once in Innsbruck, which is remarkable enough in your first season as a driver. This year she's had 3 consecutive goals, but it's
going to take some off her.
Untidy.
So we're going to see just how critical that is now.
This could be in single digits. She should still have enough.
1600s.
So hang on to 15, yeah, 1600s. That's what she had before the skid almost. So she leads with 3 to go. Will she be in the medals? Lisa Buchwitz has only been out of the medals once so far this season, and that was in the opener in La Plagne.
Wow, 558.
Form 7th.
Sorry, we've got a brakeman in the commentary box here, so I'm just getting excited over the start.
I'm getting excited. Start records and track records don't come around very often, as we will see when we see the men's bobsleigh, because they haven't been here in a long time. There are some very old names on the record sheets.
Yeah, but I think we're going to see records tumbling all weekend. But great job from Lisa there.
Wow.
You know, she only had 100th
Yeah.
on Andrea from the first heat, so she's turned that velocity into a booming down.
Now then, we had a dead heat for second in the first run. Brianna Walker of Australia tied the time set by Cynthia Appia. So they both had new track records. And that then was the lead over a 4-sled field covered by 400s.
Yeah, so this being this tight up here, this is all going to be hugely about the start now.
She had
Bree is
300s over Lisa Buchwitz. She will be in the red
She's
at the
going.
start.
Low 70s. 570.
Smooth down into the first turn, so she gives away 1200s at the start to Lisa Buchwitz.
But she's improved by 3 from her first start, so that is a good return now. Bree can really drive these things.
Oh, that little tap that so many of them are taking there early on. Out of corner 6. Rocky onto 7.
Best speed. If she
Labyrinth.
can build her speed and have a good exit at 13, she might be in a good chance here.
Quite long and slow, that Labyrinth in these monobobs, but the gap is growing. She's got good speed compared to Lisa Buchwitz.
She's closing it ever so slightly. This might go down to single digits.
I think it could. Best
Best
speed
speed.
of all, and there's a long run uphill to the finish line with that speed
Has she got enough?
advantage.
She has!
Yes! Unbelievable!
Oh, wow.
Unbelievable! Big smile from Pierre Ludus. You'll hear that name later, by the way, this afternoon.
Oh, is he a
in the
record holder?
two-man race, yeah. with start record holder, with a brakeman whose name I have never heard or read in my life. That's how long ago it was.
Wow, but great job, Bree. Hey, she pulled her start from a 573 to a 570, and she was cleaner out of 13. That is the critical corner I think we're seeing here.
What a race! What a race!
Hey, MonoBob, this is the event to watch. This is so good.
This is insane. 100th in it for the lead, and still 2 to go. But Brianna Walker will take a medal away from here.
So watch the exit here from 13. She comes off just slightly early, which pushes her across, but you see how the tap keeps her slightly straight. She didn't skid too much. Look at that.
Well, Bree was 5th in La Plagne, and then silver, bronze, bronze. The last 3 races, that's at least a bronze medal guaranteed as well. Australia Day was yesterday, or day before. Belated happy Australia Day to her and the other Aussies. Now then, what about Cynthia Appia? Started 568.
So she'll need to improve here because they were dead heat at the bottom. I think she has 65, wow. Right? So she's done the job at the start. Carry that velocity down here, Cynthia, and see if you can daylight. Get yourself some daylight.
Now, basically, she is battling a dead heat with Brianna Walker and Lisa Buchwitz because they're only 100th apart. So unless she beats Bree, the chances are she'll either be 1st or 3rd. Whoop, little
5th
high.
best speed at the moment. It's going to be tight.
She's level. Those few hundreds have ebbed away. I mean, she didn't have any hundreds in hand to start with. She gained some at the start. Speed is not there at all. Brianna Walker was fastest. She'll be third. She might not even be third. She might drop behind Andrea Grecu before the line. The speed's not great either. It is fourth at the line. She drops behind Grecu. So Walker and Buchwitz are in the medals. Well, it's a much better weekend for Cynthia Appiah so far in the mono, but she may have just, well, she has just dropped out of the medals, but it's a way better race than I think she's produced so far this season.
Oh, so much better from Sin. This is another one of our monstrous athletes, and she can pull out a huge start. 68 in the first heat, 65 in the second heat. That is world-class pushing. And the drive is getting better. She didn't... It's hard to tell what the... I mean, Brad will tell me later, I'm sure. Oh, it was obvious. But just seeing where she's just not quite carrying the speed down the track.
So the big early wave there.
Brilliant.
9th, 8th, 5th and 11th. She will be no worse than 5th place here. So that will be a season high equaling run. Now then, to equal her season high, Keisha Love has to hold on to this because she was the gold medalist in the first World Cup race that she contested in La Plagne.
Now, let me tell you something. I know Keisha as well, and she is the consummate competitor, and she will be looking at that 5:58 that Lisa dropped. She'll be wanting a piece of that, and then it's right. Now I've got to drive. So here we go. Is this going to be under 5:60?
Just drops in
59.
Just like she's jogged off 5:59, so she no longer has a share of the start record. If it comes with a gold medal, she will not care one iota.
No.
Smooth
all about the drive now,
so
Keisha.
far. Little tap away.
Look at what she's got in the tank, nearly half a second.
And look why, because it's like she's on a different track to everybody else that's wider and smoother. Only the 6th best speed. So the gap will come down a little. She was 2900s up in the first heat. She's oh my goodness,
speed. She's building speed.
Of all. And don't forget, all these sliders are using exactly the same sled.
An even tap. She came out of 13, even tap, kept it straight.
Unbelievable.
This is going to be a massive win.
Track record? Not quite. 54.40.
Wow.
So an astonishing performance from Keisha Love. You can just see there another one of the coaches who's been here for the last couple of weeks helping out, Shauna Roebuck, Olympic medalist.
Second gold medal for the season for a rookie driver. This is absolutely insane. Great job. Okay, oh, a little wave. Oh, I just want a gold. Brilliant.
God help us when these women learn to drive. I mean, that's what I'm saying. You know, she's literally in her first full season as a pilot, and she had done maybe 6 or 8 races before the beginning of this year, not just in preparation, in total.
Yeah.
Lisa Buchwitz isn't far ahead of her in run repetition.
Thank you.
And so coming here for 2 weeks makes that big difference. It's not 6 runs race, move on, 6 runs race, move on. It's 2 weeks on the same track. It allows her to learn more about the sled and what it does. And it allows her to go to the very best of her ability in the race itself.
Oh, it was extraordinary. You know what's great with the monobob as well is watching, especially these development pilots who are winning, you know, is then tracking them for tomorrow, for the 2 women race as well. You know, they've got 2 events to compete in now, and to see how these driving skills, how these pushing skills transfer to the 2 women as well, because there's, you know, multiple medals on offer, and you know what? Watch out, they're coming.
I know. I'd love to know what's inside Kaylee Humphrey's head right now, you know, watching this or seeing these results and going, there's another one, and in my team as well. Oh,
I'm sure she'll be delighted for Keisha,
absolutely. I mean, absolutely. I think that Kaylee has the same mentality that Francesco Frigic has. More competition, yeah, bring it on. That's what we want. And look at this. All right, the yawning chasm between Keisha Love somehow and everybody else, but yeah, Brianna Walker, 100th ahead of Lisa Buchwitz in the medals, and then so tight the battles all the way up and down this field. 4th for Andrea Grecu, that's a season best second best result. Cynthia Appiah equals her season's best with 5th. Lauren Alter, a little bit disappointed perhaps with 6th position, the Youth Olympic champion here from 2016, but there we go. And in the end, Adele Nicol, a little unlucky not to pick off at least 1 in her final run. Well, that's it for the women's monobob for this week. They'll be back in action in a week's time in Sigulda in Latvia. And Again, that is going to be a new track as a driver for our winner, Keisha Love. Let's see how quickly she learns that one. It's very different in nature to here. There's an awful lot going on, whereas this is much more of a glider's track. You're going to have to really drive the sled hard down Sigulda, but for now it is Keisha Love, Brianna Walker and Lisa Buchwitz, our regular medal thieves, who have grabbed a haul here as well. The first World Cup for women's monobob in Lillehammer.
Yeah, and I think great credit to Bri and Lisa. You know, it was so close for the medals there. They kept their nerve and they got themselves in the top 3. Real big
They're
shout out
tied on points, second behind Lisa Buchwitz. Buchwitz has just been on such a medal streak. Bronze, gold, 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 bronze. I mean, the woman can do almost no wrong this season. Keisha Love, Brianna Walker, Lauren Alter, Melanie Hassler, they're all just doing their best.
It is, Martin.
I know.
The leaderboard is fantastic.
Keeping them honest. Fantastic stuff. Well, a week's time, they'll be in not so far away Sigulda in Latvia, and hopefully the racing will be just as tight. Thank you to Greg Cackett, as ever, for words of wisdom, joining us in the booth. We look forward to seeing Team GB in action this afternoon in the 2-man competition, and Greg hopefully going in the 4-man on Sunday afternoon. And the men will be on ice at 1300 local. That's midday GMT, 0700 Eastern. Until then, from me, Martin Haven, the rest of the IBSF TV crew here in Lillehammer, have a great rest of the morning, early afternoon. We will see you at 1300 in a little under 2 hours from now for the 2-man.